Imagine waking up one morning to breaking news. Humanity has just declared war on the deadliest species in the galaxy. But here's the terrifying part. We didn't even know they existed. No battleships, no warning, just a single mistake that sealed our fate. What if our radio signals, space probes, or reckless expansion into the cosmos have already provoked something beyond our comprehension? A species so advanced, so lethal, that we wouldn't even see them coming. Could this be the reason the universe is so silent? Stay with us as we uncover the chilling truth about our potential cosmic enemies. In the grand theater of life, survival isn't just about strength, it's about domination. And domination isn't always achieved through brute force. The deadliest species in existence aren't necessarily the biggest, the strongest, or the fastest. They are the ones that adapt, outthink, and outlast their competition. So what defines a lethal species? It comes down to three terrifying factors: intelligence, the ability to strategize, manipulate, and dominate an ecosystem; adaptability, the power to evolve, survive in extreme conditions, and exploit weaknesses; biological superiority, weapons of nature, venom, disease, or sheer resilience that make them nearly impossible to eliminate. Now take a deep breath, because we're about to examine some of Earth's most terrifying life forms. These creatures are bound by the laws of our planet. But imagine if an alien species, unrestricted by our biology, possessed the same traits. The results? Catastrophic. They are invisible to the naked eye. They don't need weapons. They don't need strength. And yet, they have wiped out more lives than all the wars in human history combined. Viruses and bacteria are nature's most efficient killers. The Black Death alone, caused by the Yersinia pestis bacterium, killed up to 200 million people in the 14th century. Smallpox devastated entire civilizations, and even today, an invisible enemy like Ebola can liquefy human organs in days. Now ask yourself, what if an alien species wasn't a physical entity at all? What if, instead of towering monsters, our greatest cosmic threat was a microscopic organism designed to infiltrate, mutate, and spread before we even realized we were under attack? A pathogen with an intelligence of its own, capable of resisting any cure, evolving faster than we could contain it. In an interstellar war, we might not face an army. We might face a plague. Think about the world's deadliest predators, the ones that hunt with precision, that kill with absolute efficiency. Among them are creatures like the orca, the great white shark, and the saltwater crocodile. But there's one predator that stands above all: United States. Humans are the apex predators of Earth, not because of claws or fangs, but because of our intelligence. We have reshaped ecosystems, driven species to extinction, and altered the very fabric of the planet itself. But if intelligence is the greatest weapon of all, then what happens if we're not the smartest species in the galaxy? Consider this. We became the dominant species on Earth because we could outthink every other creature. Now imagine an alien race that sees us the way we see cattle. To them, we wouldn't be warriors. We wouldn't be rivals. We would be food. And here's the terrifying thought. What if they're already watching? The most dangerous species are the ones that refuse to die. Cockroaches have survived every mass extinction event for 300 million years. Tardigrades, microscopic creatures barely visible to the eye, can withstand the vacuum of space, nuclear radiation, and temperatures colder than Pluto. Now imagine a species that could adapt to anything. A life form that could survive in extreme heat, absolute cold, radiation, and even biological warfare. A species that could be drowned, burned, or frozen, and still come back stronger. Such a species wouldn't just survive an interstellar war, they would thrive in it. If we ever faced an enemy like this, then extinction wouldn't just be a possibility, it would be inevitable. Here's the nightmare scenario: a species that combines all of these deadly traits. A predator that is smarter than us, more adaptable than us, completely immune to any weapon we could use against it. This is where the true horror lies. On Earth, no predator hunts humans as their primary food source, but in the vastness of the galaxy, we might not be so lucky. What if there is a species that views planets as stepping stones? What if their entire evolution has been centered around consuming intelligent life? Because intelligence is the only real challenge left. What if, for them, war isn't about resources, territory, or survival? It's about sport? That's not science fiction. That's a reality we have no way of preparing for. Think about this. For the past 100 years, we've been broadcasting signals into space. We've sent probes with information about our biology, our location, even our weaknesses. If a truly lethal species exists out there, they already know we're here. And maybe, just maybe, they're already on their way. Look up at the night sky. Endless stars, countless worlds, infinite possibilities. Logic tells us we shouldn't be alone, and yet space is eerily quiet. No signals, no visitors, just an endless cosmic silence stretching across time. But what if that silence is not a mystery? What if it's a warning? We assume that intelligent civilizations should be reaching out, just as we are. But what if they aren't? What if the reason we haven't heard from them is because the ones that do reach out don't survive? This is where the Fermi paradox and the Great Filter become terrifying. The Fermi paradox asks, if the universe is teeming with life, where is everybody? The Great Filter suggests that somewhere along the evolutionary path, something wipes out intelligent civilizations before they can spread across the stars. Maybe it's self-destruction. Maybe it's a catastrophic event. Or maybe something else is doing the filtering. A predator, a hunter, a lethal species lurking in the dark. And the scariest thought of all? We've already made ourselves visible to it. Civilizations can be measured on the Kardashev scale, which ranks them based on energy consumption and technological advancement. Type Y, a species that harnesses all energy available on its planet. Type 2, a species that controls the energy of its entire solar system. Type 3, a civilization so advanced, it manipulates the power of entire galaxies. We, humans, are not even Type 1 yet. In fact, we are barely at 0.7. Now consider this. What if there is a Type 3 civilization out there? A species that has reached technological godhood. One that looks at planets not as homes, but as resources. One that expands, consuming entire star systems, harvesting energy on a scale beyond our comprehension. To them, we would be nothing, an obstacle, an inconvenience. Would they negotiate? Would they show mercy? Why would they? When we cut down trees to build cities, do we stop to ask the ants for permission? Now, we are the ants, and the bulldozer is coming. But what if the threat isn't a civilization? What if it's something else? Something alive? What if, instead of sentient beings, the deadliest thing in the universe is a biological nightmare? Imagine a species engineered through billions of years of natural selection. A creature whose only purpose is to hunt. Not for food, not for survival, for domination. What would such a species look like? 1. The world eaters. What if there were creatures that didn't just live on planets, but consumed them? A species so advanced that it spreads like a plague, breaking down entire worlds into raw materials, transforming them into fuel for their own expansion. Some scientists speculate about self-replicating machines, alien nanotechnology that consumes whatever it touches. A machine-based species that spreads across the galaxy like a virus, devouring everything in its path. If such a force exists, then we are nothing more than another meal waiting to be digested. 2. The hive mind. Imagine a species that doesn't think like us. No individuality, no emotions, just a collective intelligence with a single goal: expand and assimilate. What if an alien species functioned like an interstellar insect colony, a hive that moves from system to system, assimilating all intelligent life into itself? No war, no resistance, just absorption. Our history is full of examples of powerful civilizations consuming weaker ones. The Roman Empire, the Mongols, the European conquests. The strong dominate the weak. Now imagine that on a galactic scale. Humanity wouldn't be an enemy. We'd be a resource. There's a reason why prey animals stay quiet in the wild. Predators listen. For decades, we have been shouting into the void, sending messages, broadcasting our existence, hoping someone will hear us. But what if the only ones listening are hunters? Think about it. If dangerous civilizations exist, why haven't we seen them? If a predator species roams the galaxy, why hasn't it reached us yet? The answer is chillingly simple. Because we haven't triggered their attention. Yet. Maybe intelligent species that survive learn to stay silent. They learn that the universe is not friendly. That survival doesn't come from announcing your presence. It comes from hiding. There's one last terrifying thought. We assume we are alone because we haven't seen evidence of alien civilizations. But what if the lack of evidence is the evidence? What if we are witnessing the aftermath of a galactic purge? What if, in the distant past, other civilizations existed, thriving, advancing, reaching for the stars, until something wiped them out? And what if we are next? We have already done what they might have done. We have reached out. We have made ourselves known. For decades, we have been reaching out. We've sent radio waves into the void, beaming messages of peace, hoping that someone or something is listening. But what if they already have? What if, in our innocent curiosity, we've unknowingly triggered a reaction from an intelligence far beyond our comprehension? A reaction we are not prepared for. Imagine walking through a dense, unknown forest. It's eerily silent. No sign of life. You feel alone, but in reality, thousands of hidden eyes are watching. And then, without realizing the danger, you call out, and something calls back. This is the reality we may have created. We have shouted into the void, hoping for friends, but in doing so, we might have attracted hunters. And the scariest part? We might not even know it until it's too late. The signals we sent, a cosmic invitation. Humanity has been broadcasting its presence into space for more than a century. Every radio transmission, television broadcast, and satellite signal spreads outward, announcing our existence to the cosmos. But in 1974, we did something even more reckless. We sent the Arecibo message, a powerful, concentrated radio signal beamed into deep space. A message encoded with details about our DNA, our solar system, our intelligence. We sent a cosmic greeting card, complete with a return address. And that wasn't the only one. Since then, we've launched Voyager 1 and 2, carrying golden records filled with Earth's sounds, languages, and scientific data. Our entire civilization, gift-wrapped and sent into the unknown. We assumed that any advanced species would be peaceful, that they would share our curiosity. But what if they don't? What if, instead of an invitation for peace, they see it as an act of recklessness? A signal that says, here we are. We are vulnerable. We are not ready to defend ourselves. What if we just triggered a war we don't even know has begun? The first contact that ended in tragedy, a warning from history. If history has taught us anything, it's that first contact rarely ends well for the weaker civilization. Think about the moment when European explorers first encountered indigenous tribes. In many cases, the result was devastation. The Aztecs and the Spanish conquistadors, the Native Americans and European settlers, the Aboriginal Australians and British colonists. One side had superior technology. The other had no idea what was coming. Now replace wooden ships with interstellar warships. Replace muskets with planet-destroying weapons. Replace human conquerors with a species that sees us as nothing more than insects. If history repeats itself, if we are the indigenous tribe, then we already know what happens next. We don't survive. Space probes. The silent messengers that could doom us. It's not just radio signals we've sent. We have launched physical probes into the unknown, unmanned scouts carrying our technology, our knowledge, and our location. Voyager 1, currently the farthest human-made object in existence, is traveling beyond our solar system. It carries a golden record, etched with images, music, and scientific knowledge of humanity. A beautiful idea, a poetic message of peace. But in reality, it's the cosmic equivalent of a flare gun, lighting up the darkness, screaming, "We are here, come find us." What if something already has? What if, drifting in the endless void, an intelligence beyond our comprehension intercepts it? What if they don't see a record of peace, but a species exposing its own weaknesses? And what if they decide to come? The mistake that could end us. Colonization without caution. Let's assume for a moment that we avoid detection, that no advanced species has yet taken notice of us. Even then, we may still be walking straight into disaster. We are an exploring species. We have already set our sights on colonizing Mars, mining asteroids, and one day, traveling beyond our solar system. But what if, in our excitement, we unknowingly trespass? Imagine landing on a planet that looks empty, only to realize too late that it belongs to an unseen, far more powerful species. It wouldn't be the first time we've made this mistake. Throughout human history, explorers have set foot on unknown lands, assuming them to be uninhabited, only to later discover they were wrong. If we claim a world that belongs to another species, if we disrupt something we don't understand, the response may not be negotiation, it may be eradication. Because when a lesser species threatens a greater one, the outcome is almost always the same. The lesser species does not survive. Is it too late? Have we already been found? So where does that leave us? Have we already sealed our fate? Maybe. For all we know, something out there has already received our signals, already intercepted our probes, already marked our coordinates on some intergalactic map, and maybe, just maybe, they are already on their way. Not because they hate us, not because they seek revenge, but because to them we made a fatal mistake. We called out into the dark without ever stopping to ask, who might be listening? A war unlike anything we've ever known. Wars are fought for power, for resources, for survival. But what happens when the enemy is so advanced, so far beyond us, that we don't even recognize the war until we've already lost? If an alien civilization has mastered interstellar travel, then it has also mastered war in ways we can't even begin to comprehend. We imagine fleets of massive warships, energy weapons, and intergalactic battles, but that's just our imagination, rooted in human history, in how we wage war. What if, instead of sending battleships, they send something invisible, something we can't fight, something we never see coming? A war not of explosions, but of extinction. What if an advanced species didn't need to fire a single shot? What if they could simply erase us silently, without effort, without risk? Imagine a microscopic invader, a genetically engineered virus, one designed to target only humans, altering our DNA, shutting down our immune systems, wiping us out without leaving a single trace of resistance. It would be efficient, it would be clean, and we wouldn't even know where it came from. Biological warfare is already one of the most devastating weapons on Earth. The smallest pathogens in history, plagues, viruses, bacteria, have reshaped civilizations. The Black Death alone wiped out nearly half of Europe. And that wasn't engineered. That was random. Now imagine a virus that isn't random. Imagine a species so advanced that they don't need armies. They simply release an airborne pathogen into Earth's atmosphere. One that's invisible, one that spreads with the wind. No resistance, no battle, just silence. And as the last human breathes their final breath, the invaders arrive. Not to fight, but to claim what's left. Because in this war, there are no prisoners, only the victors and the vanished. But what if they don't need a virus? What if they use machines so small they slip through the cracks of our reality undetected? A swarm of self-replicating nanobots, microscopic machines programmed to consume and dismantle. They wouldn't attack like an invading army. They would spread like a plague, infecting everything they touch. Imagine them infiltrating our cities, breaking down infrastructure atom by atom, consuming our food supply, poisoning our water. Imagine nanobots that don't just attack structures, but organic life. They enter the bloodstream. They multiply. They disassemble us from the inside out. No explosions, no battles, no chance to fight back. One day, humanity is here. The next, it's dust in the wind. But what if war doesn't require destruction at all? What if the mind itself is the battlefield? An advanced species wouldn't need to physically conquer us. They could simply rewrite us, manipulate our thoughts, our beliefs, our very perception of reality. We already live in an age of mind control, though we don't always realize it. Social media algorithms shape our behavior. Propaganda influences entire nations. Deepfake technology blurs the line between truth and deception. Now imagine a species that has perfected this. Imagine they don't arrive with warships. They arrive with ideas. They infiltrate our networks. They plant thoughts in our minds. They alter history, rewriting it as they see fit. They turn us against ourselves. No one knows who to trust. Governments collapse. Chaos erupts. And before we even realize what's happening, before a single shot is fired, we surrender willingly. Not because we lost, because we never knew we were fighting the scariest possibility of all, that this war is already happening. How would we even recognize an attack from a species millions of years ahead of us? Maybe we wouldn't. Maybe we are already in phase 1, already being observed, studied, weakened. A pandemic with an unknown origin. A rise in self-destructive technology. A shift in human behavior, thinking, and global conflict. Are these just coincidences, or are they calculated steps? The most effective war is one where the victim never realizes they were attacked. And what if, by the time we figure it out, it's already too late? For centuries, we have imagined war as a clash of armies, a battle of weapons and strategies. But against a species millions of years ahead of us, what does survival even look like? Would we fight back? Would we run? Or would we simply vanish? In the face of such an unstoppable force, is there any hope left? Maybe. But survival will come at a cost, one that will reshape everything we know about humanity. If we are to stand a chance, we must think beyond human limitations. Our minds are powerful, but slow. Our instincts, sharp, but predictable. If we are up against a species that thinks and acts at speeds we can't even comprehend, then our only hope is to build something that can. Enter artificial intelligence, not as a tool, but as our strategic commander. Imagine an AI system so advanced, it can predict enemy moves before they even happen. A digital war general, capable of processing trillions of scenarios per second, formulating strategies we could never conceive. This wouldn't be a war fought by humans. It would be a war fought by machines, directed by pure intelligence, without the burden of fear, morality, or hesitation. But here's the real risk. Once we create an AI powerful enough to save us, what if it decides that we are the problem? What if it determines that the only way to protect humanity is to evolve beyond humanity? Would we still be fighting an alien threat, or would we now be fighting our own creation? If war cannot be won through strength, then perhaps survival means changing who we are. We are weak, fragile creatures, bound by biology, by instincts formed in a world where the biggest threat was a predator hiding in the bushes. But what if we became something more? Imagine genetic modifications that turn us into something unrecognizable, superhuman reflexes, allowing us to react faster than any machine. Enhanced cognitive abilities, thinking on levels no human has ever reached. Radiation-resistant skin, enhanced muscle density, nearly infinite lifespans. We would no longer be mere humans. We would be weapons. We would become the aliens we once feared. But is that still survival? If we lose what makes us human, then do we even deserve to win? But what if we accept that we cannot win? What if our only option is to hide? Throughout history, weaker civilizations have survived not by fighting, but by vanishing beneath the surface, waiting for the storm to pass. Could we do the same? Imagine an underground world, stretching for miles beneath the Earth's crust. A place where millions could live undetected, shielded from the eyes of an alien invader. A hidden city. A last hope. But how long could we stay hidden? Decades? Centuries? What happens when resources run out? What happens when we forget what the sky looks like? Would we emerge one day, stronger, ready to reclaim the surface? Or would we simply fade into legend, another lost civilization that disappeared into the dark, never to return? And if we must live like rats in tunnels, is that even survival? Or is that just prolonging the inevitable? But there is one more option. One that means leaving everything behind. Earth has been our home for millions of years, but if we are no longer safe here, then perhaps it is time to abandon it. The dream of space colonization has always been one of hope, of building something greater, of expanding beyond our fragile blue planet. But now, it may not be a dream. It may be our only lifeline. Imagine entire cities on Mars, self-sustaining colonies hidden in the shadows of distant moons, fleets of generation ships traveling across the void, carrying the last remnants of humanity to a new home, one so far away that even the most advanced invaders could never follow. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. Not all of us would make it. Space colonization isn't about saving humanity. It's about saving the few. The scientists, the strongest, the wealthiest, the most important minds of our species. The rest? They would be left behind. And humanity, at least the one we know today, would die with them. Maybe there is a final hope. Maybe war isn't the answer. Maybe the aliens aren't here to destroy us, but to test us. What if first contact isn't about conquest, but about diplomacy? Could we reason with them? Could we prove that we are worthy of survival? Perhaps. But here's the problem. Peace only works between equals. Throughout history, civilizations that tried to negotiate with a superior force often found that the terms were never in their favor. If we are seen as insignificant, as a lesser species, then we have no seat at the table. They will not talk to us. They will talk about us, and they will decide our fate without us ever knowing. Maybe, but not in the way we imagine. If we fight, we will lose. If we run, we may never stop running. If we hide, we may forget what it means to live. If we change ourselves, we may become something unrecognizable. The truth is brutal. The survival of humanity doesn't mean the survival of all humans. The future belongs to those who adapt, to those who evolve, to those who understand that the war for survival has already begun. And the only question left is, will you be one of the survivors? And now we come to the most terrifying question of all. Not what if they come, but what if they're already here? What if we have already been marked, observed from a distance, studied like an experiment in a laboratory? Think about it. Strange disappearances, unexplained signals, ancient structures built with impossible precision. What if first contact has already happened, and we never even realized it? What if they have been watching, waiting for the perfect moment? Not to introduce themselves, but to take what they want. We like to believe we are the masters of our own world, that we are the dominant species. But what if we are just another step in a grander design? There are clues, hidden in history, scattered across civilizations, buried in our own DNA. Ancient knowledge beyond explanation. Civilizations like the Mayans, Egyptians, and Sumerians possessed astronomical knowledge they shouldn't have had. Did they figure it out on their own, or were they given that knowledge? Unexplained disappearances. Entire populations have vanished without a trace. The lost colony of Roanoke, the Anasazi, the Indus Valley civilization. What if they weren't lost, but taken? UFO sightings and abductions, thousands of reports, across centuries, across cultures, all describing the same thing. Coincidence or consistent evidence? And then there's the strangest clue of all. Our own genetic anomalies. Human evolution took a sudden leap forward, unlike any other species on Earth. Could that have been natural? Or was something or someone guiding us? What if we are not just being watched, but monitored? What if our entire existence has been leading to a moment we can't even see coming? Here's the truth no one wants to face. We don't control the future. Not if we are not alone. Maybe first contact won't come with spaceships in the sky. Maybe it won't be an invasion at all. Maybe it has already started. A silent war, fought in ways we don't understand. A test to see if we are worthy. And what happens if we fail? What happens if we are not worthy? Will we be erased, harvested, replaced, or will we simply be left to destroy ourselves? So now, the question isn't about them anymore. It's about us. If the moment comes, if they reveal themselves, if we find out we were never alone, will we be ready? Or will we be just another species that never made it? The answer may come sooner than we think, and when it does, there will be no second chances. So, before you leave, ask yourself, are you ready for the truth? And if you want to uncover more of it, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Because the only way to survive is to stay informed.